Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are in the world. And a great big welcome to Robin. I meant to paste the name so I could actually read it because Facebook doesn't let me see it straight away. Yes, big warm welcome to Robin, one of our newest members to the group, and I hope you can get like all the maximum value you can from the group to improve your lifestyle any way you choose. There are some materials in the group already posted. You will find nutrition guides, you will find weekly planners in that regard, and you will also find the main one to start with that I prefer to give people to start with is the list of 100, which is a list of 100 health, wealth, and relationships, and lists of experiences that you'd like to have in this lifetime. So that's 100 each, right? And each of those lists is where you are currently versus where you'd like to be, right? And you can include your health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. You can include any of those as to where you currently are versus where you'd like to be, right? And you do the same with relationships and social circle. You might be the way you relate to yourself. You might be the way you relate to others, partners, or friends, family, etc. How are your social circles and relationships now versus where you'd like them to be, right? And then the same with wealth, right? Where's your current level of wealth at versus where you'd like to be, right? And when we consider wealth as far as where you are right now, keep in mind that absolutely every single thing you have around you is a choice if you understand that just giving everything up and walking away and living a life like Aboriginals or the Kalahari Bushmen or the South American Indians, where they're very low in materialism whatsoever and they live off the land, hunting, gathering, that type of thing. Well, understanding that that's still a choice open to anyone, right, means that everything we have around us is a choice. Our bills, our house, our clothes, our cars, our friends, our family, everything. So, where is your wealth now versus where you'd like it to be? Right? And then a list of 100 experiences that don't necessarily fit into any of those categories that you'd like to have in this lifetime. Right? And you just list them out. And the idea is that the first 20 to 30 of each list should really should be quite easy, and then they start to challenge you a lot more and a lot more. The more honest with yourself you become, and you really get the deepest things and stuff that you'd really like to have in this lifetime. Right? These groups, this one mapping your decade, and the sister groups for pilots and engineers of the same type of name, right? I've designed these groups because I want to help 3,000 people get to a $3 million type home, a $10 million type liquid cash lifestyle, and the wealth and the relationships and health to support it. Okay, because when you get to these levels from wherever people are when they're in a lesser level than that, their social circle needs to change because a lot of the time the social circle we have when one is broke is not the same circle that will support you in growing towards it. Usually the social circle when one is broke will keep you there for a very, very long time. Okay, and if not, if you keep them into that next level and they don't do any growth work of their own, they'll suck the resources straight out of you. And this is why so many lottery winners and stuff, they may win $100 million, but they're back living in a caravan a few years later, right, with not a penny to their name because they just get everything, they get bad advisors and all sorts of things. So I thought the most charitable thing that I could do is to help 3,000 people get to that type of level of lifestyle and teach them how to do the health and relationships and social circle in order to support that. Now, as far as our subject for today goes, and that list is in the group and in the files part of the group as well. As far as the subject for today goes, like the main subject for today is, do you actually need a crisis to make lasting change for yourself? And the honest truth is, no, you don't need it. You can choose to just start acting now. As soon as a lot of people need some sort of wake-up call though, right? And that wake-up call is really just the understanding that no one else is going to grow their life the way you'd like, except you. The guy down the street's not going to do it for you, right? That weird lady with 1,000 cats in her backyard, she's not going to help you get the abs that you want. Right? That gossip across the street, she's not going to help you have a great relationship. If anything, she's doing anything she can to wreck it. Right? And the guy down the street selling hot dogs is not going to help you with your wealth, right? It's a simple fact that our future is literally in our hands. So, do we need a crisis to actually make lasting change in our life? No. You can simply choose to start acting now to say, okay, well, where am I right now versus where I'd like to be, right? I know a particular Scorpio that tends to need a crisis to do any change, but that's a Scorpio. Anyway, but that's just the way they are. Anyway, we don't actually need a crisis to make the lasting change. We can just simply choose to say, enough is enough. I've had enough of not having the health I want. I've had enough of not having a strong relationship the way I want. I've had enough of crappy sex life or whatever else the thing might be. I've had enough of worrying about bills. I've had enough of worrying about this or that. I've had enough of not being able to just choose what I'd like from a menu. Without having to look at the price. There are so many people out there and stuff that cannot look at both all the parts of the menu. They've got to look at the price and then they look at what's written there. Right? But how great would it be to just go in and order the lobster without caring how much it costs? Or the crayfish, or whatever, or the bottle of wine that you like, or something like that, even though I don't drink wine myself, but I know others do, rather than having to look at the price. So if these things are of interest to you, then you're in the right place, okay? You don't need a crisis to make this lasting change that you would like to shift in these directions. You can just simply really just choose to get stuck into work in the lists of health, wealth, and relationships and the list of experiences you'd like to have in this lifetime and say, you know what? It is up to me. Right? Even I can't do it for you. I can help you guide and get you there. Right? And I can help you sustain it. Right? Because I've gone to the levels above and I've worked out what it took to get there and the parts in between. Yes, I know the house I'm living in is not the ideal house that I'd like to have, but that doesn't matter. The property that we're developing is still worth $11 million, and that's why I say $11 million and $10 million doesn't look like $10 million anymore. Right? By the end of this year, this house should be bought, demolished, and rebuilt. Right? Just like by the end of this year, we should have some of my robotics working, and the property down in Stool, 3 hours down the road, that should be well on its way to being developed and subdivided, ready to build houses. Okay? These are not small things. Right? And I can help you build the strategies you need to get you there. I've already had my crises that did force the lasting change. Right? I had my heart attack at age 27. I had my wife have a psychosis and thought she was going through different dimensions that created a family war and all sorts of other things and stuff. And that was from so many people denying her from being her best self. So if so many people were denying her from being her best self, then the cure was always going to be to help her have the confidence, the courage to become her best self, and she is. And she's thriving. She's beautiful. She's amazing. And she's pregnant with our 4th child. And she still has a thing about cameras, but if I get her on the right day and I ask her on the right day to join me in a live video, she will. Okay? But that's, again, more to do with pregnancy and let's call it emotional shifting as to whether she goes on camera or not. Which is a good thing because it's allowing her to say, look, I don't feel like going on camera today. Right? That's healthy. Being able to communicate that is healthy. Rather than people pleasing and saying, oh, I'll go on camera, and then she looks like she doesn't want to be there. I don't want that. I want her to feel like she wants to be there. So I don't push. I'll invite, but I don't push. So, do we need a crisis to actually make lasting change? No, you need a choice. You need to choose the idea that where you are now is not where you'd like to be in 10 years. All right. And if you've got a really good, strong relationship, and I know a fair few of you actually in this group that do have a really good relationship, it really can come down to a simple matter of inviting each other down to have a cup of tea or coffee, right? And saying, you know what, we've built a lot together already, but what do you think we can really build together in the future? All right? Because relationships that last and that have a great sex life, and great communication, require those initial invitations. It requires being able to sit down and to have the discussions that need to be had. All right. So Kelly and I, we averaged our lowest average is 5 hours a week, right? And it's been significantly more than that. When she hit 37, it was 15 hours a week, and it was amazing, you know. But we've worked out that the lowest we should ever go in our relationship is 5 hours a week. You know, we average around 7.5 to 10 most of the time. You know, but I say these things not to impress, but I say these things to what's possible, right? Do you feel fulfilled in everything that you're doing? Most likely not. If you want more, I can help you get more, right? And that's what the resources in this group is for. Okay, and of course the one-on-one coaching is available for ones that wish to have that extra engagement and the extra accountability and the extra support and the extra understanding, because sometimes the thing we need most to actually make steps forward is to feel heard, to feel supported, and to not be made to feel like we're crazy or weird or what have you. Even though weird's a good thing most of the time, you know, there's a stigma about that. You know, I know I'm a weirdo. That's fine. I'm good with that. You know, but a lot of people aren't comfortable in being weird. If you want to dress up like a giant octopus and walk down the street sliding on jelly, I don't even know. If that's a life goal of yours, you should be able to feel comfortable enough to say it, right? You know, it's up to you to build the life you would like. So the more you put effort and the more you put honesty into building the list of 100 for your health, wealth, and relationships, and the list of experiences you'd like to have in this lifetime, the better results you're going to get, regardless of whether I help you one-on-one or not. The better results you'll get. Okay? Because you're choosing to say, you know what? I want more out of this life, and no one else is going to give it to me unless I choose it for myself. So, yeah. So, unless you're a Scorpio, you don't really need a crisis in your life to make lasting change most of the time. Okay? You simply only need to choose to do so, but choose it for you. Choose it for the ones you love. Choose it for the ones you care about. The ones you wish to share this life experience with. Remembering that we cannot control anyone else around us at all. We only have control of ourselves and our own life experience. Okay? Anyway, I hope this has helped. If you like this one, please, and you watched it live, please do hashtag live. If you watch the replay, please do hashtag replay. And if you got value out of this, please do hashtag value. Especially if you got some key takeaways, put them in the comments as well. You know, absolutely love the feedback, love the interaction, love the way that the group is growing, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.